When Sony's PlayStation 3 goes on sale this weekend in Japan, there'll be plenty of game lovers ready to snap up the new console. Now, Sony has certainly kept them waiting, so after all the delays, will it live up to the hype? Well, let's find out from Mark McCluskey, who's the product editor at Wired Magazine. He joins us live from San Francisco. Welcome to the program. Now, give us your gut reaction to the PS3. I mean, I heard that the graphics are truly amazing.
The graphics are terrific. The PS3 definitely is an impressive piece of hardware. We've had a chance to play it, and there are some games that just look tremendous. First generations of games on new hardware can be a little tough, and there are definitely some rough spots, but overall things look pretty good.
But the problem here is Sony is playing catch-up with the PlayStation 3. The Xbox 360 by Microsoft has been out for almost a year, and the PS3 is more expensive. So will it be able to entice a lot of gamers?
They're definitely playing catch-up. It's a good point. Microsoft went for speed in getting to the marketplace over sort of power. Sony's system on paper is a little more powerful than the 360. And I think Sony is going to do very well, especially in Japan, which is a market that they have traditionally done exceptionally well in, obviously. Microsoft has really not figured out how to crack the Japanese market. The question is, with the price, you mentioned, the price is very high. And in Japan, it's going to be 50,000 yen for sort of the basic model, up to 75,000 yen for the enhanced model. And, that's a pretty good pile of cash. And so I think cost and availability are going to be the two things that they need to overcome.
Now, if you talk to the people at Sony, they always like to say the PlayStation 3 is more than just a game machine. I mean, it has network functionality, it has this Blu-ray component, so it can play high-definition DVDs, and it has this powerful cell processor. But is that a positive or a negative? It seems to have a lot of functionality built in. Is this a case of featureitis?
It could be. That's something that I think we've seen in this round of consoles. Microsoft and Sony have both see the console as a way into the living room, that sort of mythical one set-top box that's going to really let them dominate that space. And that's what leads to those high prices. When you start talking about, $400, $500, $600 for a console, that's a ton of money. Nintendo, which, also has a console coming out, has taken a very different approach, focusing on sort of unique gameplay. I think Sony and Microsoft will both do just fine. They're obviously huge companies with huge bets on this and huge technological bets. But I think they're really pushing the boundaries of what we could really consider a video game console to be.
Yeah, the cell processor. Just how powerful is it, and will it make gameplay all the more better?
It's on paper, it's incredibly powerful. Cell refers to there are sort of it's almost a cellular mechanism of multiple processors linked together. What's difficult is actually programming to access those processors so that you can spread the instructions that the code has to accomplish across each of those processors. That's super hard to do, and it's going to be a while before we really see developers unlock all the potential that seems to be there in the hardware on paper.
And what kind of game titles will be available for the PlayStation 3? And what are Sony's plans to really exploit online gaming with the console?
So the launch titles are a lot of familiar titles, as they tend to be. Launch titles tend to be things, sequels to very popular titles in the past. In the launch window, the real trick is just getting it out the door. That's been especially hard this time around because developers got their units so late in the game, so it's been a real rush for them to even get the product out the door. Online, Sony has very ambitious plans. It's something that Microsoft has done incredibly well with Xbox Live. Sony is going to launch what they're calling the PlayStation Network. It's untested, and when you start to talk about hundreds of thousands of people hitting an online gaming network, they could face some real challenges there, just because you can't ever really simulate that sort of load in your testing.
Okay, at the end of the day, we have 3 next-generation game consoles out there: the Xbox 360, the PS3, and at the end of the year, the Nintendo Wii. Which one is the best machine?
That's a tough question to answer, because they're aimed at different places. The Wii, what the Wii is incredibly good at is it's just very fun. It's very simple, and it's very focused just on video gaming. Sony and Microsoft are looking for that sort of big impact in the living room, and they're both incredibly powerful. I think it's going to be hard to judge a winner until you get sort of the next round of games with the Sony and then really see how their online plans play out, because that's a real strength of Microsoft's.
All right, gotcha. Mark McCluskey of Wired Magazine, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.